Did well to win the ball back. That's not a bad ball. And a goal!
God, it's like not like real players. If you're doing that crap.
You know,
All day. Yeah, I was just so watching.
Keeper made an insane save first post.
That's money, that's money.
Oh my gosh, this keeper's cracked. Dude, that was one of the most bullet headers I've ever seen.
It's money.
You can't save that one. That was literally side netting.
But not to be. That is a wonderful challenge to cut off the supply. They're trying to get right into his face.
Take it all the way up. Alright. Oh my gosh.
That was an X. This, I like locking people down. It's kind of funny. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Lesky here, back with another Pro Clubs player build for FIFA 22. And on my community page, I posted a poll a few days ago, giving you guys two options on which center back build I should post first on my channel. The first option was a physical beast center back, and the second option was a ball playing center back. Basically just focusing on increasing the dribbling stats and the passing ability so you can feel more confident on the ball as a center back. And it seems like the physical beast center back has won the vote pretty easily. I will get back to the ball playing center back and post that build probably in the next couple days. In today's video, we're going to be showing you guys this physical beast center back build that I had a lot of fun using and absolutely locking people down with. So the way I tested this build out was I was playing as a center back. We didn't have an any. It was just me and my buddy. My buddy was using that ball playing center back that I will post in the next few days. So we were both just listed as center back while the other team was all computer. We weren't in any. We were only playing center back, just locking the other team down. And then once we win the ball, our computer just goes to ham, goes to work on the other team. I don't know what it is. They just ping it around. They know what they're doing. They got crazy chemistry and they just score goals. And we legit won the Division 2. We started in Division 2. We won the D2 title, got out of D2, and then immediately won the Division 1 title. First try, as both playing center backs with only two real people. And we beat a bunch of teams of 5s, teams of 4s, all that good stuff, and just absolutely locking them down. And I believe we got like 9 clean sheets maybe out of like the 20, 25 plus games that we played, which is actually a pretty good ratio in my opinion, especially since we all know FIFA and pro clubs, there's a lot of crappy goals and lucky goals that happen where the other team really just doesn't deserve it, which happened a lot, and you can't kind of avoid that. It's just gonna happen. It's FIFA. Happens every time you get on the game. But this build really is a beastly build. You can lock people down. It's even pretty fast. Center back builds are a lot better than last year in pro clubs. And when we first decided to try this out and just be the 2 center backs, we didn't think it would work well at all. But it ended up working so well that we won the Division 1 title. And even as if we both would have played like striker with no any, just having computer, it would have been way harder to win. We've tried it multiple times. It's just a lot more frustrating because your center backs and your computer defense are just lose the ball. You lose the ball off goal kicks. Playing as center backs, you can just call for it on goal kicks, call for it from the keeper. You have the free kicks in the back. You basically can kind of control the set pieces and the goal kicks that you have. So a lot of times when you're just playing up top with computer, it's just almost like an automatic turnover. So that's one of the huge advantages we had over all the other teams because we were actually playing defenders, and also that the computers are just absolutely insane in Division 1 and even Division 2. They just ping it around, bing, 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 and score crazy goals. And then also on top of that, I actually scored a ton of goals with this build as well. You can go up, bomb forward, call for it, a lofted cross in the box, and you're an absolute monster in the air. Same with set pieces, and scored a ton of goals off of corners with this build. So you're actually a huge aerial threat using this build. So this is definitely a longer intro than most of my player builds, but I kind of just wanted to explain to you guys how we actually use these builds. I didn't use this build in like competitive 11v11. We only used it with 2 people, just both at center backs. but I'm sure this build would be very good in competitive 11v11, because I'm sure a lot of you guys that are looking up this video are probably competitive players and want to find some really good center back builds, but this build will definitely do some work in competitive as well. So I have a ton of clips with this center back build that I'll be playing while I'm showing you guys the perks and the skill tree, so y'all can watch those and follow along with the build. And let's get started with this build video. We'll talk about the height and weight first. So with this center back build, we're obviously focusing on increasing the physical abilities as much as possible, as well as the defensive attributes. So I decided to go for a 6'7" center back build. I also used this build at 6'6". Honestly, majority of the games were probably at 6'6", but there's really not much of a difference between 6'7" or 6'6". You might as well just get that extra inch. 6'7" gives you like +1 more strength, +1 heading accuracy, I believe, which can be really nice since you're going to have a lot of header opportunities with this build. So you can't go wrong with either 6'6" or 6'7". I guess the one downside to 6'7" is that you have one less sprint speed. You have the same exact acceleration. The acceleration doesn't change, but you have one less sprint speed at 6'7" compared to 6'6". But honestly, you're really not going to tell much of a difference at all. Like, I really didn't tell much of a difference with using this build at 6'6" and 6'7". So whichever one you pick, you won't have a problem with it. It'll still be very beastly. But I guess when you bump it down to 6'6", if you look at the physical line right here, it's at 89. And then when you bump it up to 6'7", it goes up to 90. So I think that just looks pretty nice and satisfying to me. 90 physical and 91 defending. That's why I picked 6'7" for the height of this center back build. And then when it comes to the weight, you kind of have to go as skinny as possible, 119 pounds or less. You can go 99 pounds. It's not going to change any of the attributes. But once you go over 119 pounds, you'll start losing some pace, and if you keep going more, you'll lose more pace. So I definitely think going for the lowest weight is the best, especially if you're going to be this tall as a center back. Otherwise, you're just way too slow. And that's it for the height and weight for this build. You can go 6'6", 6'7", doesn't really matter, but I kind of liked 6'7" more, I guess, and then 119 pounds for the weight. So now let's take a look at the perks for this center back build. When it comes to perks with this build, there are some alternatives you could use, so you don't have to use the exact ones I'm using, and I'll go over those alternatives. But for the first perk, I went for Last Defender, and I used this perk for like probably the last 8 or 9 games. And actually to win the division title, I was using this. But before that, I was using Ball Winner the entire time, which increased your tackling ability when you get close to the ball. And it pops up like every time you're like 5 to 10 yards away from the ball, and it makes that noise, and it can be pretty annoying. But that's not the main reason I took it off. I read the Last Defender, and I thought it was pretty interesting, and I feel like it could be pretty good because the Ball Winner only increases your tackling ability. It doesn't increase like your defensive awareness or interceptions or anything like that. But the Last Defender says it increases your defending attributes. So basically all your defensive attributes, all the slide tackling, interceptions, defensive awareness, stand tackling, all that stuff, which I thought is a bonus compared to Ball Winner. And I just don't know how it exactly works because it says when you are the last player back, but when you start the game, the perk is active like the entire time. Like it's already active from the start of the game, kind of like the physical strength. It's already active and it won't like pop up the rest of the game like the Ball Winner does every time you get close to the ball. Like, even if you are the last defender back, or even if you're not the last defender back, you're up there playing striker with this perk on, it's already active the entire time. So I'm not too sure how it works. Like, is it already just working no matter what? Or does it really only work when you're the last player back? But there's no way of telling when it's active because it's already active the entire time. If that makes sense, that might have been confusing. But I felt like it was helpful and a little bit more helpful than the Ball Winner, honestly. So I kept it on, but if y'all don't want the Last Defender, y'all could go Ball Winner. You really can't go wrong with either. So that's definitely the alternative to the Last Defender is go Ball Winner just to increase the tackling ability even more. And then for the second perk, this one's pretty obvious, physical strength. So it'll increase your strength, your ball control, jumping, when jostling, shielding, or heading the ball. So the jumping and the strength that we have listed on the physical page are actually higher than what it says because of this physical strength perk, which is quite nice. And then for the third perk, which is another one you could switch out if you'd like, this one I went for one-time shot. For my first few games using this build, I tried set piece beacon. I scored a goal or two off of corners with this, but I just think the one-time shot is a lot more helpful, especially towards the end of the game. You need a goal, so you're going to go up there and play striker, play like target man, send some crosses into your big dude. Hopefully you'll get like a header. The one-time shot is a lot better for that because it's active the entire game, while the set piece beacon perk is only active during set pieces, free kicks, corner kicks, throw-ins, and it's only active for 5 seconds after the ball is in play, and it grants you the power header trait, and it increases your heading attributes. I guess that's the one upside for set piece beacon, is it increases your heading attributes for set pieces, while the one-time shot doesn't increase your heading at all. I think we have like 83 heading accuracy on this build, so it's not crazy, but I did score a ton of headers with this build with the one-time shot on. The one-time shot just says it increases your finishing ability, which is quite nice. You may have like situations where you need to hit like a volley, even though your shooting's not very good. Maybe the one-time shot will help it. Who knows? But it gives you the power header trait, which is the most important thing, and it also increases your weak foot. But the main reason is just it's completely active the whole time. It's not just for set pieces. But I guess if y'all want to try the set piece beacon, go ahead. Like if you don't think you're gonna be going up the field a lot and bombing forward into the box for some crosses, kind of like what I was doing a lot, then definitely just keep the set piece beacon on. Like if you're just going to be going up for set pieces, then go for it. But again, like for late game, trying to go up the field during the run of the play, the one-time shot is definitely the way to go. It's definitely better. So that's another alternative for the one-time shot. You can have set piece beacon on if you'd like. And that's it for the perks for this build. Let's take a look at the skill tree on this physical beast center back. Beginning with the physical page for this build, as you can see, we went all the way down to this bull archetype, which is 10 skill points and gives you +7 strength and +5 aggression, which will get our strength over 90 and our aggression over 90. We'll have 91 aggression and 92 strength. And then on this right side, we go all the way down to the acrobat archetype, which is nice. It increases your stamina and jumping quite a bit. So we actually have really good stamina. And the one thing I noticed, if you make a tall center back, their stamina is a lot better than if you were to make a short center back for some reason. So that's another positive for being an extremely tall 6'7" center back like this one, is we have extremely good stamina. So when it comes to the end game, a lot of the smaller players, like fast, pacey strikers, they'll have really bad stamina and you'll just be able to chop them down, and they're completely useless towards the end of the game, especially when it comes to like through balls and long balls and behind. You'll be able to outrun them because their stamina is terrible, and you'll definitely be able to body them with that 91 strength. And then you make sure to get this aggression and jumping and aggression right here, which will give you +3 jumping and +4 aggression for 6 skill points. And that'll get us up to 86 jumping. No one should really be able to out jump you. You have 86 jumping with that physical strength perk. Remember, we have that on. That'll increase our strength even more than 91 and our jumping even more than 86. So you really shouldn't be able to get out-bodied or out-jumped because you're 6'7" and you have all these crazy physical attributes. I did try this build out with this jumping and aggression to get it to 88 jumping and 94 aggression, as well as adding this reactions to bump the reactions up to 92. But I decided to use the rest of these skill points on the defensive page, which I'm about to show you guys. I felt like it was more important than getting this reactions and jumping. So it maybe if y'all are like a level 24, level 25 max level, I'm only level 23. It takes forever to level up this year in pro clubs if you haven't noticed. But maybe if y'all have more skill points than me, some extra ones to throw around, then get this extra jumping, bump that up even more, and maybe even get the reactions if possible. So now let's take a look at the defensive page, where as you can see, our defensive attributes are absolutely cracked. 93 interceptions, 90 defensive awareness, 93 stand tackling, and 86 slide tackling. We got the Guardian archetype, which helps out a lot. And like I was mentioning about this physical page, how I had this jumping and aggression and reactions on beforehand. At first, when I was first trying this build out, I did not touch the defensive awareness at all. Like I had slide tackling, I had this, that, and then I think like something like this. It was looking like this, and I only had 77 defensive awareness because I assumed that defensive awareness is only good if you're playing any and not controlling your player. But I'm actually wrong. I looked it up. Defensive awareness actually does a lot more to that. It helps your tackle. It's almost kind of just like aim assist when it comes to like shooters. It helps your guy like lock onto him and contain the player in front of you a lot easier. So it's not just if you're playing any kind of like attack positioning, how you go to the dribbling page and it says attack positioning. Selecting this trait will increase your player's offensive awareness when you're not controlling your virtual pro, any position. It doesn't say that when it comes to defensive awareness. So that actually means defensive awareness is really helpful. So I took this off, basically what I was saying, and then added it to defensive awareness and even got the guardian archetype. So the way I did that was took this interceptions off. We don't really need slide tackling. Yeah, you might slide tackle a good amount, but we already have 86 slide tackling, and we had that last man defender perk on, which increases our defensive attributes even more. You'll be stand tackling a lot more than you'll actually be slide tackling, so it's not as important, and this 86 slide tackling is already pretty good. That's going to be it for this defensive page. Got a ton of stand tackling and slide tackling clips with this build, which are really satisfying to do and just lock people down, shut people down. And most of the time when you do try and get close to people, you want them to challenge you, try and dribble you one-on-one. Most of the time they're just too scared to even do it because they know you're crazy strong and got really good physical or defensive attributes that they'll just pass it backwards or away from you immediately as fast as they can to try and not get tackled by you. So it's kind of funny, and it's like an intimidating build for people, and then they'll just try and avoid you, and which kind of messes up their own game, and they don't play how they normally play, which is kind of nice, I guess, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying because I really wanted to get a lot of tackles with this build, but a lot of people were just scared to even get near me. So onto the dribbling page, where we don't actually have any skill points here. We didn't increase the agility and balance just because we don't have enough skill points. There's just not enough skill points to possibly get all those physical attributes and the defensive attributes, get some pace, and increase the dribbling. That'll be the other build that I was talking about. The ball-playing defender build will have a lot better dribbling. So if that interests you, you can check that build out. It'll be out in the next few days. But that's it for the dribbling page. Nothing to really talk about here. Let's move on to passing, where again, we don't have anything on the passing page. That's with that other build, that ball-playing defender build. That'll be the build where the passing ability is actually really good and you can make good passes. But this one, not so much. It's just the base defensive center back stats that we have at this height and weight. And honestly, I guess the 85 short pass is pretty good. 71 long pass isn't terrible. You would like the vision to be better, but again, we just don't have the skill points for that. So that's it for the passing page. Now, taking a look at shooting, where these 3 categories in a row, we don't have anything on it, which is kind of obvious. This is a center back build. The one thing I guess we could put on this build was to increase the heading accuracy. We do have 83 heading accuracy, not the greatest. You would like it like high 80s or maybe even in the 90s. You will have a lot of header attempts with this build on set pieces, or if you just bomb forward in the box to try and score. I scored a ton of header goals with this build, like a lot. I had a lot of chances with this build off of corners, and honestly, just running into the box and calling for it and getting across to me and finishing the chances. I scored a lot with this build, and the 83 heading actually really wasn't a problem, so I decided not to increase that anymore, and we really just don't have the skill points for it either. So now to the last page, which is pace. We are actually very fast for a 6'7" center back build. Like I said, center backs this year are like the fastest position on the game, I think equal with wing backs. They're really fast, even if you're tall. The one thing that we left off was this +3 acceleration, which would be nice, but we decided to get this +2 sprint speed since the sprint speed's already lower than the acceleration. We could have 94 acceleration, which would be pretty nice for a 6'7" build. That's actually crazy. But again, we just don't have the skill points, and I thought just increasing the defense and some of the physical attributes, especially for this build where we're focusing on the beastliness of it, I think it was more important than the acceleration. But again, if you have some extra skill points to work with, or you want to take something off and you really want that extra acceleration, you can go for it. But I think 91 acceleration, 87 sprint speed is fine. And honestly, you shouldn't really have any problems with the pace on this build. It's fast, you're tall, you have physical attributes. So when you are in a 50-50 one-on-one shoulder to shoulder situation, you should be able to come out on top every single time just because of your strength and aggression. And a lot of people were trying over the top through balls on us, and it just wasn't working. We were reading it, we were following the runs. As long as you're in good positioning, following the runner, you should be able to stop it every time, unless it's just like a perfect through ball. It's just unguardable, then maybe. But really, the pace is not a problem with this build. And that's going to do it for this physical beast lockdown center back build that I have for you guys. A lot of fun to use, and especially partnered with that ball playing center back build that I will post a video on very soon. If you have two defenders in the back using both those builds, they're a great combination, and you should be able to lock people down. And again, we won the Division 1 title with this while I was using this build, and only 2 of us both playing at center back, which is kind of crazy. Did not expect that at all. I did not think it was going to go that smoothly. We literally only lost like 1 game out of like 25 games. It's absolutely crazy how like dominant of a strategy it is. Just both play center back and then let your computer do work on offense. I don't know how it worked, but it worked perfectly. And we'll probably try it again just because it's kind of funny annoying the other team trying to score goals on you. So thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for the other center back build if y'all are interested in that, and a bunch of other Pro Clubs builds as well as Volta builds coming to my channel. Please hit the like button on this video, and don't forget to put a comment on this video if you try this build out. I'd love to hear how you liked it or how it went on for you. And also, if you could hit that subscribe button on my channel, I would appreciate that a lot. Thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.
And that's my head. Oh my gosh, the fluidness.
And he's beaten him
The
here.
ball roll, the turn. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Hey,
He just
we're
flicked
cold at
it.
Pro Clubs, bro.
He just
We're cold.
flicked it. This is all skill, man. All skill.
I can't beat it. They didn't even touch the ball once.